Hello, today we are going to talk about the color wheel and mixing colors. We'll be making a color wheel together. This is a color wheel, and I've gone ahead and created the wheel and labeled the primary colors: yellow, blue, and red. There are 3 primary colors. This is a refresher for a lot of you, and it might be new to some of you. So let's begin by filling in the color wheel with our primary colors. I'm going to begin by getting my brush wet, putting it into the yellow, and I'm only using yellow. And I want to have a very strong yellow, so I'm just going to put the yellow directly onto my color wheel. Nice and bright. And you might notice that I'm able to paint over this dark black ink line, and that's because I used a particular type of pen called a micron pen. And a micron pen, it's waterproof. So once the micron pen dries, it is exactly waterproof, and you can paint over it and the color won't bleed or smudge, which is perfect because if the black ran into this yellow, it would create a very muddy black color, and we definitely don't want that. We want a sharp, nice color here. So we now have our first primary color on our color wheel, and I'm going to wash my brush. And I'm using around 16 for this because I don't need it. It's not a lot of fine lines. Now the next primary color I want to fit in is red. And the closest thing to a straight red I have is the cherry red. If you're using the Artistro, this nice Artistro travel set that you can find very inexpensively on Amazon, the cherry red's probably the closest that we can get to a red primary color. So I'm going to go ahead and just paint in this pretty red here. I'm going to add a little bit more water. It's a pretty thick red that I have. I'm trying to go as bright as I can. I'm just going here and just filling this in. This is a satisfying project if you feel so inclined to paint along. You can make a color wheel like this. I just took a bowl and traced along the bowl, and then I got out a ruler, and I have a total of, I believe, 12 triangles here. And between each of the three primary triangles, I have 3 additional triangles, and you'll see why in just a moment. Okay, that's a beautiful red that we have completely filled in. Now I want to rinse my brush off as best I can. And you know, this really fun set that we have, it is great, but it doesn't have the best blue, to be honest. The closest I think that I can get is I've got the older set here, and this that I'm using, it is called Deep Blue, and I want you to take a look at what this is. I'm going to put it on my mixing tray first so you can see. It's almost already got a little bit of violet to it, in my opinion. I think honestly I could probably bring in a little bit of this phthalo blue, and that makes it look a little bit more blue to me. So I'm going to mix these 2 colors as darkly as I can to get a blue. The color next to it is called Ultramarine. I might bring that in a bit as well. I think that is the Cobalt. So I had to mix the color blue I want. I want a nice primary color blue. And so I'm going to go ahead and just now paint that in on my color wheel right here. Need to add a little bit more water. This is a really strong dark blue that we have. And your color wheel, you can make it however you would like. You can make it these strong primary colors, or you can kind of lighten it up. You can play with this in different ways. Just going ahead here, and I am just nicely pulling that together. Color wheels are just a satisfying project. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so here are the 3 primary colors that we have for our color wheel. Now, when primary colors mix, they make a secondary color. That's a little bit of an accident here. That says primary. I meant to say secondary. Purple is a secondary color. And here, when blue and yellow mix, they'll be making green. That's a secondary color. And red and yellow, when they mix, they make orange. Orange is a secondary color. I'm going to go ahead and fill those in now. So I'm going to mix these colors with the colors that I used. So I'm going to begin by taking the cherry. And I've got a strong cherry, and then I'm going to bring in this blue. I'm rinsing off my brush. I'm going to bring in the blue. And I'm mixing it over here, and that's a very strong purple that I have, right? It's a very strong purple. And I'm just nicely going to fill in my color wheel with purple. It's a beautiful purple. It's really dark. It's a dark purple because these are very strong colors. And secondary means that it is equal amounts. So equal amounts red, equal amounts blue make this. Now, obviously, I'm not testing. I don't know exactly how equal it is, but I'm eyeing it, and that color looks pretty good to me. Now, one of the things that I can do while I'm here is when a secondary and a primary color mix, it makes a tertiary color. And tertiary, I'm going to go ahead and mix that now. So I'm going to use the purple that I have, and I'm going to bring in a little more red here. Yeah. And so this will be, you can see it's a red purple. So you can just see that this red purple is nice and just kind of balances between those two. All right. Now I'm gonna add a little bit more blue. So we come back to that nice purple that we have. And I'm going to go ahead and add now a little bit more blue. So it's more of a blue red. And I'm going to mix that color over here. And there we have, it's almost not quite right. Need a little bit more red in there, I think. Yeah. And we have a blue purple. There you go. So the bottom of our color wheel is now filled in with those colors. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to mix our yellow and our red to get our orange. So I'm gonna go ahead and just begin to mix that color. So I'm going to take the yellow, I've got a good amount of this yellow, I'm gonna get the yellow onto my brush and bring it over here, rinsing off my brush, and I'm gonna bring in a good amount of the red. I think I need a little bit more yellow here. I'm just rinsing on out the brush really well. And bringing that in. And there we have an orange. So I'm going to go ahead and just paint this on. So you can see you can mix almost any color you need from the primary colors, truly. Now we are limited a little bit by pigment, so that's important to know that pigment really does affect what we're mixing here. So I'm going to add in more yellow so that we can go ahead and mix the yellow orange. You can see this is more of a yellow. I'm going to bring a little bit more in even to that than that. I'm going to really make it a good yellow orange color here. So I'm going to go ahead and now paint in the yellow orange on this side. So this has more yellow in it. It's almost like a burnt sienna is what we get here. Okay, and then if we add in more red to give it, to make it a red orange. You can see here how lovely that looks. Beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse off my brush and it's time for us to make our green. So yellow and blue make green. We're going to go ahead and mix this color on our tray. I'm really rinsing off my brush here. So yellow, I'm going to get a good amount of yellow on my brush. Bring that over here. I'm going to rinse that off. And now I'm going to pick up a lot of blue. And that's still almost too blue. I'm rinsing off the brush here. So I still need a little bit more yellow. I've refreshed my water. And really to balance this out, I just want to pick up more yellow here. So I'm going to bring that in. Really, that's just a really nice green. And I'm going to go ahead and paint that green. It's a really balanced green between the type of yellow and the type of blue that we have. It's a strong color. Yeah, lovely. Okay, now I'm rinsing off my brush and I'm gonna start by adding more yellow to this to get a more yellow green for the yellow green side. And I'm gonna add even a little bit more than that. And I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in over here. Actually, I'm gonna just give it a little bit more yellow. The blue is just the blue pigment really takes over here. So this is a yellow green. Tertiary color. Okay, I'm gonna rinse that brush off, and now I'm gonna make more of I'm gonna add a lot of blue. Let the blue take back over, and maybe even a little bit more. And we're gonna go ahead and bring that in. This is just a stronger blue here. Just a blue green tertiary on this side. And voila, we have our color wheel. And it's just such a beautiful color wheel. You've got your strong yellow and blue and red primary colors. And then we've made our secondary colors, our green, our orange, and our purple. And then we've made those lovely tertiary colors in between. The tertiary is when you mix a primary and a secondary color together on either side, and you get these nice colors. So this is a beginner's lesson in the color wheel, and it gives you a really nice idea of what your colors look like. I do recommend trying this anytime you get a new watercolor set, because it will give you an idea of what your mixing capabilities can be. So give it a try. Make a color wheel yourself. All you really need is something. I used Pyrex. I'll show you right here. I just used a Pyrex container on my paper, put it side down, and then traced around it. And then I used my ruler here to help me bring in the lines. And you know what? An eraser was super helpful in this lesson as well. So give it a try, and then please do share with us in the community what your color wheels look like. I'd love to see you give it a try.